After defeating Raman, Saruman sent his legions of Isengard to storm Minas Tirith while the main armies of Gondor are fighting for western Osgiliath and Cairo Andros with the armies of Mordor. 20. Isengard's army, already ready for battle, is storming Minas Tirith. The siege towers and battering ram were already approaching the walls of the capital of Gondor. The best Uruk-hai follow, slowly marching in a single formation. The garrison of Minas Tirith has 10,000 Gondor fighters, of which almost 3,000 are elite veterans and fountain guards. From the south, under the noise of the marching legion of Isengard, Imrahil's army of 8,000 arrived, including 2,000 knights and 2,000 knights on foot. Imrahil led his army, and hoped to strike at the army of Isengard preparing to storm. However, the leader of Isengard's army, Lurs, noticed the movement of Dol Amrotha's army, and dividing his army into two parts, changed the formation of the second half of the legion. 10,000 Uruk-hai will meet the onslaught of Dol Amrotha's army and drive people away from the fortress walls of Minas Tirith, giving them the opportunity to launch an assault on the citadel without hindrance. Imrahil believed that having staged a battle at the gates of Minas Tirith, Denethor would undoubtedly arrange a sortie to strike at the rear of the fighting Uruk-hai of Isengard. The scouts of Isengard shuddered from the cavalry charge, and many of them were killed by cavalry pikes or trampled by horses. After the cavalry, the infantry of Dol Amroth entered the battle. But its advance to the main positions of Isengard was stopped by explosive ballista shells that had already begun to bomb the units of the knights. The shells claimed the lives of hundreds of Dol Amroth fighters and did not give them the opportunity to break through the ranks of the Isengard pikemen who had already lined up and began to crowd.
Our forces have found their courage! Back to the fight!
Imrahil, looking at the destruction of his army that came to the rescue of Gondor, finally realized that Denethor would not help, and decides to retreat to Pelagia. Uruk-hai lost almost 6,000 of their army, while Dol Amroth lost 5,000 out of 8,000. Now nothing prevents Lurtz from launching an assault.
They're fighting back!
This is a good day to live!
Yeah! Let me pull that one out for you! Ah! Yeah! Oh, waiting to fire!
After a while, the siege towers joined the walls. Immediately the positions of Gondor began to flood with units of heavily equipped Uruk-hai and berserkers of Isengard. During the fierce battle on the walls of Minas Tirith, Uruk-hai manages to gain a foothold and pull half of the forces of Gondor that was at the gate.
He's dead! Leave him!
The time has come. The ram immediately began to break the gates of Minas Tirith. As soon as the gate was broken, thousands of Isengard's pikemen began to penetrate the walls of Minas Tirith. The guards of the fountain stood on the defense of the gate, and they met the blow of Isengard.
Walls are under attack! to the fight! The unit has fired all of its ammunition!
The battle continued, and the people suffered unimaginable losses. However, the Isengard army had already lost half of its army. The guards of the fountain with all their might restrained the hordes of Isengard at the gate, but they were forced to give up their positions by taking a step back. Denethor decides to direct all the forces of Gondor to defend the gates of the citadel. Having withdrawn many of his units from the battle, Denethor weakened the protection of the walls, which is why the elite units of Isengard, descending the stairs, immediately break through the walls. When the Uruk-hai that descended from the walls were able to break through to the gate through the streets of the city, it was all over for the defenders. The blow of the Uruk-hai to the rear shook the positions of Gondor, and the defenders began to lose their last strength. For many hours, the warriors of Gondor tried with their last strength to repel the attack of the Uruk-hai in the rear, but they were trampled and killed. Minas Tirith is on fire, and the defenders are unable to overcome. The legions of Isengard are fleeing.